like I said, it was like a year of just writing all kinds of things. And I remember at the time that online writing was just becoming a big thing. And I'm sure you know our mutual friend, Lucas Miller, the police detective in New York, who was the son of a jazz musician and a painter. And he was writing for Slate about his experiences of being a cop, or I don't know what exactly. He was writing little things for Slate. And I remember contacting him to ask about, like, how does that work? And just because I didn't even know what I would be writing about, but I was curious. And he said, oh, I have a friend. She's an editor at digitalcity.com for AOL. And she is interested, she needs some writers. So I contacted that woman, and she's like, yeah. They were starting this travel thing where you would pick a city, a destination, and they would recommend, it's all the rage now, 10 places to eat, 10 places to stay, 10 things to do, 10 things to do at night, what to do with families. And so she had a list of cities. And so at first I started doing, and back in that time, I didn't say no to anything. It's like, you want to write, I'll write this. Okay. So it was all an experiment. So I started writing for digitalcity.com on AOL, doing destinations. And at first I would only write about places I had been, like Martha's Vineyard. But after a while, I would just pick a place that I was interested in, Big Bend National Park. And I was really shocked because I was doing it all with a dial-up connection and a telephone. And I would research online where there were some ice cream store in big, and I'd call them up and say, hi, I write for digitalcity.com. And I'd like to write about your ice cream store. What kind of flavors do you have? And I was always shocked that people would answer me. They would be excited. I remember calling some bar in Portland, Massachusetts, well, what does it look like in there? And they're having long conversations with me about they don't know me, but they would, well, this was a more innocent time, but still everyone, and they would tell me and I would take notes, and it got $35 a segment. So I ended up earning $35 an hour because I got so good at it. I could make the call, get the information, write it down, and then it was like 100 words. So I was doing that for a while, and then a woman I knew from the Boston Globe, Julie Michaels, called me up and said, Louis tells me you're writing, and I need someone to do an advertorial for the Boston Globe, just the Boston Globe. And I was like, okay, what's that? And it was the premise was mother-daughter shopping spree on Newbury Street. And so I actually did go to Newbury Street and walked up and down and took notes and the whole thing that I had done for digitalcity.com, these short little things. And she wrote to me and she said, you have the voice, She loved it, but it's because I had been doing that stuff for Digital City and learned how to make it concise. And, and the other interesting thing for me at the time was no one knew my age, because you're doing it all through email at the time, online. And so, they didn't know how old I was or not. She, was like, you could adapt the language to your audience. And anyway, that's the advertorial never ran because of 9/11. But I got paid anyway. And then Julie said, You know, my friend is the interim travel editor at the Boston Globe, and I'm going to recommend you. But it wasn't anything I aspired toward. I was just writing because I loved writing. I loved, started with essays and personal essays, and then segued into doing this thing for Digital City. And then when I got to Globe travel writing, it sort of combined all my fields of interest because to support myself in graduate school and beyond, I worked for a caterer and started my own catering business. So I was well versed in food. And then I had a background in language. And then I had a background in visual arts. And so travel writing for me became sort of the meshing together, the back to my Seton Hill days. I had my interdisciplinary. If I had known back then, I could have said, I want to be a travel writer. Got my degree.